You know, it's interesting. I did a video about like the double standard where people, bashed on Karen for like trying to, I don't know, like expose Gary, but yet when Danny does it, everybody's cheering. But I'm kind of bringing the same energy, but for, you know, a Karen substitute, if you will. I'm talking about the difference between how fans cheer for Danny, exposing Gary to Penelope, Andy, Jordan, and all the boys. Yet, for some reason, people keep saying that, oh, because Gary's miserable, that's why he's trying to expose Tamera to Hayden, even though Hayden said he's happy with his relationship and whatnot. Look, Hayden is trash. We know this based on the way he did Zach and Fatima, not to mention just the way he is an a-hole to pretty much everybody. But he's still being wrong though. He's been set up. And I mentioned this in my post about it last night. I said, I don't really get the difference here. I mean, Danny, despite how messy her own personal life is, well, love life, the fact that she has a boyfriend at home, yet she's currently on a date with another man, she's going out of her way to expose Gary. And despite her own personal love life being messy, she did it because Gary was playing her girl. And I was like, well, for starters, Gary's been, trying to figure out, or what's the term? He's been trying to vet Tamera since, Hayden first brought her up. And it's like, well, because I'm thinking it's kind of like a twofold thing where one is like ego, where it's like, ain't no way no Riz Hayden got a baddie like this quickly. Something doesn't smell right. And then on top of that, I said like, well, Hayden's his boy, and people are like, no, they ain't friends and whatnot. And now I remember when they first met in season 2. Remember when Hayden was first introduced and he wasn't a complete d-bag? Basically, this was when, post season 1, of course, when the feds had arrested Gary, and Andy needed like someone who was like a tax attorney. Mike from Bruh was mentioned. That was the only reference to that series in this entire show. But Hayden was recommended, I think, by Fatima. And Hayden was actually pretty cool. It wasn't until the whole Zach and Fatima thing started up that he, became the lowdown scum we know him as today. But in any case, when they first met, I think Hayden just said something like, about Andy being a very good lawyer. And then Gary started getting jealous. Like, what do you mean by that? What do you mean we're coworkers? How much time you spend together? He's like, he got super jealous. So I think after, that ordeal, the show moved forward and then these two started interacting. Now, honestly, I forgot exactly when like these two first interacted outside of season 2. But the way it was written, you would think these were like high school, college buddies or something like that. But I guess off screen, these two linked up because Tyler needed to figure out a way to, create a dual antagonizing force against Zach and Fatima, where it's like, hey, these two knuckleheads can work together. Hayden could try to get Gary to screw over Zach on the financial side, and then Gary uses Hayden to keep an eye on Andy at the workplace. I don't know. I couldn't tell you, but I think the thing is, and maybe this is just because I'm a guy, but I don't think men need to have, long-standing connections with other men to be called boys. Like, for example, have you seen those memes or reels where it's like, it's funny, men can like be gathered in like, like at a barbecue or at like a bar or something, talk for hours, yet never exchange names, and they cool. But, women, it takes a while to warm up to each other and form those bonds. And folks, can we be honest here? Can we be completely honest here? If you ask me, I think that the bond between Hayden and Gary is stronger than the bond of the sister circle. And these women have been together since college. I mean, I'm not trying to be quote unquote sexist or anything. This is just an observation from a male perspective. I mean, yeah, there have been a number of times where when Hayden is getting advice from Gary, but then he decides not to do it, that's essentially mirroring some of the aspects of the sister circle where somebody will give sound advice and then the person receiving it is an asshole because they'll ask for the advice, yet they refuse to take it. And it's funny because last week threw a lot of people off, and we're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Hayden's the voice of reason? I never thought I'd see the day. But the thing about the dynamic of Hayden and Gary that I want to point out is I think that Gary is doing this not out of jealousy. People are like, no, he's only trying to ruin Hayden's, relationship and marriage to Tamera because he's miserable because Danni outed him in front of everybody about his cheating and lying ways to, Andy and Penelope, somehow not mentioning Jasmine. But it's just one of those things where I don't think that's the case because remember, he had started vetting Tamera way before the Penelope stuff got revealed. And this envelope he's handing Hayden, it definitely, in my opinion, it must be some Tamera stuff. Now, you could argue that maybe when he got home after Hayden kicked him out, he decided to go just even deeper to, find out what's up with Tamera. Because remember, he found some stuff before stating it was like, she had some stuff going on like in her, high school or early 20s. But, it wasn't anything major and it got cleared up. But think about it this way. She probably had her quote unquote past cleaned up, but that doesn't mean that the past isn't still out there. So after, finding out some more stuff, Gary decided to show Hayden, which leads to Hayden confronting Fatima later on in the season. So I think that people should kind of back off. And look, I'm not trying to defend Gary, but like Zach used to tell Fatima back when her character was so insufferable, keep that same energy. How come it's okay for Danni with her messy self to expose Gary for her girl's sake versus it being bad and, Gary's just Hayden. Misery loves company because he's miserable. He's going to ruin Hayden's relationship. Yeah, the relationship that could possibly lead to him losing half of his stuff, if not worse, in the next 6 months. So why is it cool for the women to look out for each other, but it's a negative thing when the men want to look out for each other? I know I'm going to get some people stirred up over this, but I'm just telling the truth. It's just like, it's okay for Danni to do this, but it's not okay for Gary to do it simply because a lot of characters don't like Hayden or Gary. So it's like, let them suffer. So, I mean, again, keep that same energy. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.